Did you know that your mind can literally kill you? It's been documented. Literally, the mind can put people to death, including yourself. Just the mind. And did you know that the mind can also heal you of terminal diseases? Did you know that? The mind alone can heal you of terminal diseases. There is documented evidence to prove it. My name is Jamal Javanji. I'm a life coach by profession. I have started a company called Free to Love Coaching Solutions LLC. I'm so glad you're here watching this video. If you're watching this video, you're here on purpose because there's something in this video specifically for you. And I want to share a couple of things. And some of these stories I'm going to share with you, I share personally with my one-to-one coaching clients. And these are some of my favorite stories because they help elevate and lift lids as to what we believe is possible. Because here's the thing, right? For all of us, our ability to visualize what's possible or visualize what's impossible, it largely has a result to do with stories that we've heard, things that have been repeated to us, things that we've experienced in our past, and this forms a perception of what is possible, right? Our understanding of what's possible in life, our understanding of what's impossible in life, largely comes from personal experience, what we've seen, what we've heard, what we've personally lived through in our own life. If you had no past reference points, now I want you to hear this. If you had no past reference points in your life, you would have no sense of anything being impossible. Everything on the table would be absolutely possible. Now, the only thing that we have to go on is past experiences. So for a lot of us, we've experienced things, we've experienced setbacks and hardships and what we perceive as failures. And this determines and sets the cap on what's possible for you or what's impossible for you. So from time to time, we need to get lifted beyond those past reference points so that our understanding of what's possible can expand. Does that make sense? So here's what's interesting. As a life coach, I have people, they come to me all the time. This is a regular situation that I face in my line of work. And when I talk to people, right, there's a part of all of us that wants the impossible. We want to go beyond limitations. None of us like to feel stuck in life or held back. All of us want to feel that our life is expansive. All of us want to feel, there's a part of all of us that wants to feel abundant, like the sky's the limit, like anything we have a desire for, we can achieve. This is the human experience. This is the human spirit. But I have people that come to me on a regular basis, and even though there's a part of them that want change, as soon as we get to the threshold, right, as soon as we creep up to a threshold of transformation and change, something very predictable happens. And this is normal. And I've learned to work with this and I know how to work with this, but people have a mind. And the mind, again, nothing wrong with the mind. It's a very sophisticated piece of life technology that the source of all of life has developed. It's amazing. But because of its programming, because a lot of us have had the mind programmed, actually all of us have had our mind programmed from the past, the programming will take over, and the programming will keep many people, will talk you out of the very thing you want. When I say it'll talk you out of the very thing you want, well, the question is, what do you want? You want transformation. You want newness. You want to break through the patterns and the way things have always been. This is all of us. But the mind will come in and it'll convince you of sophisticated arguments. Things like, oh, you can't afford to invest in this. You can't afford to buy organic food. You can't afford to invest in this personal development program or whatever it may be. Right? It'll tell you that, and it'll actually convince you. And when the mind decides to do something, it goes on a search, and it begins to look for evidence to confirm its suspicion of limitation. Let me say that again, because you want to write this down. This is very important. The mind, this is the way it works for 100% of people, right? If you're on a trajectory of up-leveling your life, of transforming your life, you will encounter the mind, which will convince you, or try to convince you, I should say. But what the mind will do is it'll come up with evidence as to why you don't really need to make a change. And then it'll come up with excuses, right? You can't afford it. It's too hard. It's too difficult, whatever it may be. People will walk out on you. You'll lose your family. You'll lose your whatever it may be. There's all these sophisticated arguments. And once the mind decides to do something, the mind looks for supporting evidence as to why that was the correct decision. It's a part of the survival mechanism. I hope that makes sense. I see it all the time. I want you to be aware of it. If you're watching this video, I want you to be aware of that tactic. Not so that you completely ignore the mind, but you just want to be aware of it. Oh, I have an addiction. We all do at some level. We all have an addiction to comfort. And this is why people don't transform. They stay the same. Even though we know there's a part of us, what I call the highest self, our truest self, our most divine essence, whatever language you want to use, it doesn't really matter to me. The truest part of you beyond your persona is wired for greatness, is wired for infinite freedom, infinite abundance, infinite, you name it, love, right? That's the truth, because that's the way life is. Life is infinitely benevolent. That's my understanding. Life is infinitely abundant. There's so many things in life, right? And we're wired to that, to experience that. But the thing that holds us back, again, the thing that holds us back is our addiction to comfort. Because the mind has past reference points and it doesn't want to experience failure. It doesn't want to go through what it went through in the past. So it talks us out of change and keeps us staying in the same patterns that have limited us and held us back. So this is what we're working against all the time. But if you can, and this is, if the mind, however, can be tricked, sometimes it has to be tricked, or if the mind can be renewed or transformed, that's when the mind can actually assist you in some extraordinary things. And I'll tell you a couple stories about that, right? So I remember listening to a physician. He's a medical doctor. He was actually a cancer doctor at the time. He was an oncologist working with cancer patients. And he said, going through medical school, we are taught, it's a phenomenon, it's a well-known medical phenomenon. It's called the placebo effect, And basically, placebo effect, I mean, they learn about it like basically any pharmaceutical company that's going to produce a new drug, a new pharmaceutical, they have to test for the placebo effect, right? Because it's a part of the human condition, the human mind, right? When you think, and what a placebo is if you're told or suggested that taking this medication or doing this action, whatever it may be, if you're told that if you do it, it will work. You're told a placebo effect is basically when you take a certain medication, when you take or you do a certain action, if it's suggested to you that it will help you, the placebo effect is the mind will then believe that, and because of the belief, the mind actually creates the desired result, right? So that's the placebo effect. And so sometimes when they're creating a drug, they want to know, does the drug actually work, or is this just the mind thinking it's working, right? The placebo effect. So physicians and people trained in the medical world, they're very familiar with this. So this particular doctor who I was listening to, he was given a lecture and he was talking about the first time. He said, I learned about this in med school, we learned about it. He said, but I was not prepared for the first time I witnessed it with my own eyes. And he tells the story of a lady, and I'm probably going to butcher the details a little bit, but I'm going to summarize it for you. This lady was diagnosed with aggressive, it was a stage 4 aggressive form of cancer. I'm not exactly sure what kind of cancer. I think it might have been breast cancer, but not entirely sure, but that's not important, right? It was stage 4 aggressive cancer. And because it was so aggressive, and actually they caught it even too late, clinically speaking, to really for her to be a candidate for any serious treatment. She was basically terminally ill. She was going to die, and there was really nothing they could do about it. That, according to the medical guidelines, whatever that is, right? So because of that, she was actually a candidate for a placebo. Now, as you know, when a doctor is going to prescribe, they do that from time to time. specifically in cases like this where they can't be helped, right? They will then prescribe a placebo because it's kind of like the last ditch effort to see if they can help the person, right? So she was a candidate for placebo, but of course, the patient can't know it's a placebo, right? And that, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. So the doctor told her, and he was honest with her. He said, this is not looking very good. We caught the cancer way too late. It's stage 4. So we have to, but here's where he went into the placebo. He said, we must start you on aggressive chemotherapy immediately. You have to start it immediately. Had a high desire to survive and to live. So she was willing to do whatever it took. So there was a desperation in her, which made her a very good candidate for a placebo. So, but of course the doctor didn't tell her about any placebo. He just said, we have to start you on aggressive chemotherapy immediately. So she agreed. She said, okay. And he warned her. He said, chemotherapy is, the standard procedure. He went in and he said, it's very, very, can be very challenging on the body. Your hair is going to fall out. You'll be, experience a lot of nausea, a lot of, you'll lose a lot of weight. It'll do a number on your health. And we have to get you, we have to support you through it, but it's going to be really difficult. So he told her all this, right? Just typical things that you experience in going through chemo. But mind you, it was a placebo. So she started coming in for the treatments, and she'd go get hooked up to the IVs or whatever it was. And but instead of chemotherapy going into her veins, it was a placebo. It was nothing. It was literally nothing. And he said, I couldn't believe it when I saw her. Like, she would come in visit after visit, and her hair was falling out. She lost all of her hair. She started vomiting, experiencing nausea, all the symptoms of chemo. And guess what? Her tumors started miraculously shrinking. And there was no drug. It was just placebo. It was nothing. Isn't that amazing? Power of the mind. She was told that the drug would help her, and this is what the drug would also cause. These are the side effects, and it happened. Power of the mind. Another story, and this is same doctor told a story about something called a nocebo. What is a nocebo? A nocebo, right? It's like a placebo, but it's just the opposite. So, true story. This is a true story. A nocebo, right? Another patient came in this same doctor told the story. Another patient came in, and he was having some health issues, health symptoms. And what he experienced, some of the symptoms that he was experiencing was very alarming. So they ran some tests, and the test discovered that he had pancreatic cancer. That's what the test showed. And if you know anything about pancreatic cancer, you know that it's devastating. I mean, it's something that most people don't survive. It's a very fast cancer. It really kills people very quickly. And so the doctors gave him about 2 months to live. They said he had about 2 months. And so with that 2 months, that 2-month life sentence that they gave him, he progressed. He went downhill pretty quickly, and he did die. He passed away within about 2 months. He donated his body to science so they could do autopsies and learn. And so when they did the autopsy on the body after he passed away, they discovered that he had no cancer. It was a misdiagnosis. Isn't that crazy, right? Isn't that nuts? Just the suggestion, he was told that he had pancreatic cancer. He was told that he was going to have 2 months to live. Just that alone killed him, literally killed him. The reason I tell this story, and I tell my coaching clients this story for a reason, it's because I'm trying to illustrate, and I want to illustrate, and if you're watching this video, I want to illustrate to you how absolutely powerful the human mind is. And the human mind produces something devastating for almost 100% of people that I've ever met in my life, including myself, right? There's one thing that most humans experience, and it's this thing called stress. What is stress? Well, stress isn't out there, right? Stress is something you experience inside. You actually experience it at the level of the mind. But when the mind experiences stress, the mind personally does something to your physical body, right? What is stress? And I tell people this all the time. If you could, the most simple definition of stress that I could give you, another word for stress is simply resistance. It's resistance. You're resisting life on the inside. And they have done numerous studies that when you enter a state of stress, your immune system gets weakened. You experience stress hormones. Your body literally secretes certain hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, all these different adrenal responses flood the body, right? This stress response, your nervous system gets deactivated, right? Or it gets activated, I should say. Your nervous system gets activated and you go into a sympathetic nervous system. And we talked about that on the last video that we did about this very thing, right? And so if you haven't watched that video, I would encourage you to go back to that. But one of the number one reasons that our, what I call life force energy is affected is because of a dysregulated nervous system. Well, believe it or not, stress at the mind level will trigger a dysregulated nervous system. And as a result of that, you experience massive inflammation. But the real culprit of stress is that it suppresses what the most important and powerful currency that you possess on the inside, which is your life force energy. Sometimes it's called prana in India, in China, sometimes they'll call it chi, but it's your life force energy. It's literally your inner currency. And not only does a dysregulated nervous system affect your life force energy, your inner energy supply, the mind does. The mind that is in resistance, a state of stress, also suppresses that big time. And ultimately, it can, as from the examples I shared with you, it can kill you. But it can also cause you to be homeless. It can also cause relationship failures. It can also cause financial destitution. It could cause so many things, including health issues. Because when your life force energy is suppressed and not flowing upwards as it needs to, there's not a lot you can do with your life. And this is why in my signature 90-day one-to-one life coaching program called the Energy Acquisition System, one of the things that we go to work on, in addition to regulating a dysregulated nervous system, another thing we go to work on is we actually begin to dismantle paradigms of the mind that cause us to live in a constant state of resistance. Because the mind is absolutely powerful. It's running a script constantly, keeping you in a state of resistance to life. And it's literally killing you. It's killing most people. I always say, most people are committing suicide. I know that's a crazy way to say it, but they're just doing it in installments, one day at a time, wishing that the day was over, wishing that they would get to the weekend, wishing they could get to the summer, wishing they could get to the vacation. But that's literally suicide in installments. That's what it is. You don't have to live that way. There's a much better way for you to live. And how do you do that? How do you get out of this state of suicide in installments? A major part of it is learning how to completely dismantle the mind and reconstitute the mind, recondition the mind so that it actually works for you, so that you can experience healing as opposed to death. Does that make sense? I'd like to tell you a little bit more about my signature 90-day program, which is called the Energy Acquisition System. And here's a little bit more information about it.
I just wasn't sleeping anymore. I felt like I was stuck. I could not stay motivated, and it was hard to focus. I tried self-help books, therapy. I even took a vacation, and nothing helped. And then I found a personal coaching system that gave me back my life. Hi, Jamal.
What she discovered is the Energy Acquisition System developed by Jamal Javanji, a globally recognized coach featured on Fox Network, Newsmax TV, and an Amazon best-selling author with over 100 podcast episodes guiding listeners and transforming men and women worldwide.
My 90-day coaching system is for anyone looking for a renewed sense of vitality and well-being.
I haven't felt this alive in years.
Jamal changed that.
Don't just wait for a change. Do something about it. Book your session with Jamal today.
Your breakthrough begins the moment you say, yes, I'm ready for change. Hit the button below and let's get started.
And if you'd like to know some more information about my signature 90-day program, the Energy Acquisition System, don't be shy, reach out. There's a link below this video. Go to my webpage and schedule your free consultation call today. You're going to be glad you did. If you haven't seen our last video about a dysregulated nervous system, let me encourage you to go and watch that video. I'm going to link it here at the end of this video. Check that out, give it a viewing. So check that out. If you like this video, it really helps. You hear people say it all the time, but let me just encourage you not to ignore this. Click the like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps this video get out to more people. And until next time, until the next video, take care of yourself.